Hey folks, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to our weekly Bofuri discussion video, the final video in our Bofuri series. Oh, it breaks my heart to say it, but yes, the season has indeed come to a close. And yes, I say season because we get to season 2, but for now, this is the end, and I do want to give a big thank you to all of you who supported the series for as long as you did. That is super appreciated. And also a big thank you to those of you who did share last week's video over on Twitter. At Bubbalubber, at Matt87Eagle, at Janame, at DXAna, at Osiris99, at Fiery Cathy, at DragonKidTV, and at Blue Rose Enigma. Thank you all so much for sharing last week's video, it's super appreciated. And thank you for sharing all of the Bofuri videos if you did, that is also really appreciated. And let's just go ahead and dig into the final episode of Season 1. So, the big battle between Payne and Maple begins, and I was glad that it got the amount of time that it did. It didn't feel like it overstayed its welcome. It didn't feel like it was too fast, although I would have totally welcomed more, admittedly. But the Payne versus Maple fight was basically just exactly what it should have been. It was just a dope-ass fight. And it's a fight that they had been building since the start of the season, so of course I was super stoked for it. You guys heard what I said last week. You know that I thought now I feel foolish, but I thought that we were going to end with a big showdown between Payne and Maple, and it was going to be close, but ultimately Payne would end up on top. That is not what happened. I felt so sure, too. I was like so convinced that that's what was going to happen. I was like really excited. But I was happily surprised. I will say that the way that they took Payne out wasn't sort of, okay. So they didn't job Payne out, is what I'll say. And if you don't know what that means, it's a wrestling term. You usually call people whose sole job it is, hence called jobbers, whose sole role it is, we'll say, is to put over other guys, and put over just means like let other guys beat them so that they look strong. And you call those people jobbers because they never win, they are only there to lose. Another example of a jobber is like maybe like Krillin or Piccolo or somebody like that. Somebody who's basically, like, they get wins here and there, but for the most part, they're only there to lose. I thought they were going to make Payne a jobber, right? Because, like, when I saw people in the comments last week saying, like, no way, like, Payne's going to lose because Maple's the best, so of course Payne's going to lose because blah, blah, blah. Like, basically saying, like, the ending was going to be predictable. And it wasn't. Maple does come out on top, but the show does cleverly find a way to make Payne still seem badass. Like, they don't bury Payne. He still looks cool as hell, which I really appreciated, because he doesn't necessarily lose because he's bad or something like that. He doesn't, and he doesn't lose because Maple necessarily cheats either, because later Frederica says, like, that's cheating! And Payne just says, like, nah, I wasn't cheating. Like, it's just she played the game the way she did, and I didn't see it coming, and that's that. I'll get them next time, though. And that's what I like, is the idea that Payne didn't necessarily lose because he is worse than Maple. He lost because he wasn't prepared for what Maple had in her back pocket. Maple still has ways to surprise new players, especially people she hasn't fought before. And while basically everybody saw Atrocity coming, it was still dope when it did show up, especially the fact that Maple drops the shield. And when she dropped the shield, I thought she was immediately going to use Atrocity, but instead she ends up using Counter, which did look dope. And the fact that Payne just tanks Counter is badass and shows that he too is a like really beefy, tanky dude. And I do think that makes the two of them pretty evenly matched. Again, and people are probably going to think I'm crazy, I would still give Holy Sword the nod as the superior players, because without Maple, I think Maple Tree would be, like, would have lost pretty soundly against Holy Sword. And Payne, if he had prepared, like, Payne is like Batman, or like, if the man has prep time, I'm pretty sure Payne could have taken down Maple. But that's the thing, right, is that they still give Maple the win. She's still super strong and stupid crazy and has all these surprise moves, but that's why we like Maple, right? Everybody loves Maple because she's full of surprises and she always finds a way to sneak out a win. But at the same time, in terms of skill, I still think that Payne is the superior player. It's just that Maple got lucky. And you guys can disagree or agree with me. That's up to you. I also want to give a big shout out to whichever animator worked on most of this. A lot of the animation felt like they were coming from one specific person during this fight, since they felt sort of reminiscent of last week's ending where Payne kind of slices Maple down. It was a similar sort of style, so I have to assume it's the same person working on this fight scene here. Unfortunately, they are artist unknown. It could have been Koji Ito, but I don't think that it was. Regardless, a big round of applause for Koji Ito as the action animation director, because the man absolutely crushed the action in the series. Bofuri is a great show in terms of its like fun characters and light story, but the action is what really shocked me from this show. The action is stupendous, some of the best action scenes this season, and it wouldn't have been possible without Koji Ito. So whether or not Koji actually worked on this, or if it was just some other animator whose name is unfortunately lost to time, a huge kudos for this, not only this fight scene between Payne and Maple, but just all the action throughout the series. I'm getting a wee bit emotional talking about the end of this season, but it was genuinely such a surprise and continued to impress me each and every week. As for the rest of the episode, I will say they started on a high note that I think they struggled, in my opinion, to match for the rest of the episode, because Payne versus Maple to me was hype as shit. And the way that Payne goes out, he goes out humble, you know, he's just like, damn, all right, well, I'll get you next time. And then Maple just destroys Holy Sword with Atrocity, right? And Atrocity is a cool-ass move. Who does it like a giant kaiju, you know? Especially one that looks like a mix of, like, Godzilla and a Xenomorph. Like, it's just cool looking. So, yeah, like that's a great end. Like, it was a great fight, had a great conclusion, kept both players looking super strong, and then it just kind of keeps going. You're like, oh, okay, I guess, yeah, of course, the event's still ongoing, right? But the event itself just kind of wraps itself up. Maple in Atrocity form basically gets, they use Shadow Clone Jutsu, and Phantom World, I think it is, and basically they just make a bunch of copies of Atrocity Maple and take down all the other guilds, except for the Flame Emperors and Holy Sword, since those are the two guilds that everybody's specifically attacking, so that they can take down as many other guilds as they can, because at this point people realize that it's basically just going to be a battle for who's left. And I think in the end they say that there are 6 guilds left. So excluding our gang, there's 3 unknown guilds that managed to hang in there somehow. And I do expect that we'll see at least one of those guilds next season. I don't read the light novels. I don't read manga. All that kind of stuff bores me. I'm mainly just an anime guy. But I just have an inkling that the reason why they said like 6 guilds instead of just 3 survived kind of makes me feel like, oh, okay, like one of them's probably going to be the antagonists of the next season, or maybe like a season from now, or whatever, who knows. I did think, yeah, like it was a little just sort of, I don't want to say anticlimactic, because it was still cool. Like one of my favorite bits is Maple confronting me in Atrocity form, and Me's like, what the hell is this? And then Maple jumps away, and she's like, I think she's helping us? Cool. And then Me just like goes to town, because Me's a cool character. Me, I think, is she's not my favorite. That's between like Maple and Sally. But Me is up there as one of my faves. And obviously you guys know me, I'm a big Payne fan at this point. But yeah, I think it was the coolest part of the second half of the episode was seeing the other 3 guilds sort of become friends, especially in the wrap-up. Seeing the gang like celebrating at Maple Tree, including like all 3 guilds. It was just kind of nice. It was just a pleasant little moment to end the series with, or rather end the season with, since again, we are getting a season 2. As the end of the episode hints, we are most certainly getting a season 2. And again, like if I had to speculate on what a season 2 could be, I do think we'll see another guild rise up through the ranks, since now Maple Tree is like the bronze team, I suppose you could call it, the bronze guild. I assume Flame Emperors would be silver, making Holy Sword gold. I feel like we're going to see somebody basically rise up to try to take one of their spots, and the next season will be a battle to hold the guilds together, right? Like to try to block somebody else from becoming the next big thing. And I do think we'll see a team-up of Payne, Me, and Maple, because we actually end with them attacking one of the bosses at the end, and it's the 3 of them. And I was like, oh, that's such a cool idea. I think at some point we'll see the 3 guilds go up against something so monumental that it'll like need the 3 guilds to team up, and ultimately only me, Payne, and Maple will be the last one standing, and that would be cool. But yeah, that's basically all my thoughts on this week's episode. This week's finale, actually, and I am going to miss this show. It's not necessarily profound. The characters aren't like as deep as the ocean or anything. And yeah, like it's a very light series, but you know what? You need that sometimes. You need just a fun show, and that's what this show is. And being fun doesn't mean that you're being lazy. It takes work to be as fun as this show is. It takes real skill to make a show that seemingly has like quote unquote low risk, and yet at the same time you're so engaged, even though you know it's just a group of people playing a video game. You can't help but get invested in these characters, and I am going to miss them, but not as much as I thought I would, because we are getting a season 2, which was the biggest relief ever. And by the way, yes, a bunch of you guys messaged me as soon as it happened, like, season 2! I'm like, yeah, I know, I know, trust me, I know, and I will see you guys for season 2. But on that note, though, everybody, I am going to wrap up today's video here. I would say that that this episode is like a solid cup of Orange Pico. It is exactly what I came to Bofuri for, week to week to week, and it never let me down. And that's it for today's video, everybody. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, then be sure to go ahead and hit that like button and leave a comment down below, because it all pleases the almighty YouTube algorithm, which helps me out a ton. So if you choose to do so, kudos to you. And if you'd like to go that one step further to help the channel out, then go ahead and check out some of the mugs listed just under this video from our Teespring store. That is super appreciated. Or if you want to help out the channel more regularly, of course you can check out our Patreon, like these lovely people that you see before you. And speaking of our patrons, I would like to give a big shout out to those of you in the Earl Grey tier. Zevi, Andrew, Branson, Calvin, Crowbar of Irony, Daniel, Digger the Fox, Dominic, Emily, Ionos, Urza, Ginkotaku, Godzilla Fan, No For Nothing, Maria, Marshall B, Mater, Mirth Mouser, Cell, Shadow Creative, Steven, Sakochi, Tristan, and Veridin. Thanks so much to all of you in the Earl Grey tier, as well as those of you in the Orange Pico tier. And if you too would like to join our T-Squadron, then be sure to check out the first link in the description to check out our Patreon page, see all the cool rewards you can get over there, as well as access to our Patreon exclusive Discord for as little as $1 a month. Once again, I want to thank you all so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys have a great day, and until next time, you stay classy, AniTube, and wash your dang hands.